Hi guys, it's Miss Russell and I'm going to show you the start of a project that we are going to work on for several weeks. If you see here, this is actually our background. If you look close, hopefully you notice that this is something called monochromatic. Monochromatic. Let's think about that. What does monochromatic mean? Well, if you take the word, you've got mono. Mono means one, chromatic means color. So it's one color, but this one color has been mixed with white and black so that you get different tints and shades. Anytime you add black to a color, you're shading. If you add white to a color, you're tinting. And it should gradually go through from white to black with your base color in the center. We're going to start by practicing this in our sketchbooks today. And then next week, we're going to get this really large piece of paper to do our background for another project. Eventually, in our sketchbook, our project, let's see, there's our outside of our sketchbook. Then we did our Van Gogh pockets the other week. There's our pocket. And then it's going to open up to this monochromatic pop-up. So we're going to learn how to do a pop-up with different layers and mixing our tints and shades of whichever color you choose. So to start, you're going to have your plate. Every table should have white and black. And then you're going to choose a color. For this one, I'm choosing blue. You should have a spoon for all three colors. You do not want to share the spoons between colors because then you're going to mix them and we won't be able to work with them. So I'm going to start with my base color first, and I'm just going to take one spoonful and put it in the center. This is my color that I'm not going to touch. I'm going to leave it pure, so it's going to be my blue. But then off to the side, I'm going to put a scoop, and off to the other side, I'm going to put another scoop. And I'll take that. I'm not going to reuse that spoon. I'm going to get a brand new spoon. Over here, I'm going to add some black. Now, black is extremely strong color. We do not need a lot of black to make this shade. So when I do it, look how little. There's barely any black. And I'm going to add it to that blue. I am not going to mix it with my spoon. My spoon is only to dip my colors out. And then I'll take my white. Now white, you're really going to need to add more white to your blue to get it to actually do that tinting. So I added quite a bit of white. My paintbrush, I'm going to use the handle, the back of the paintbrush, to do all my stirring and mixing. I'm going to start with my white. Really take some time, mix it all the way so that you don't have all these different tints throughout this blue. Try and not spread it out over the entire plate or you're just going to waste your paint. Look for all those little areas, bring it back in, stir it well. Then I'm going to take my paper towel, wipe that off the handle so that I can stir up my shade. My shade is my blue mixed with my black. Now yours might turn completely black. That just means you had too much black. And there's not much you can do. You would have to put a new scoop of blue and just add a little bit of that shade that you were attempting. Do not try and add more blue to this one. If it's too dark, start over. You're not going to win that battle. There we go. So I have my three different values here, from my light to my normal to my dark. Now I told you we're going to practice in our sketchbook, and we'll eventually use that practice page to create that pop-up that I was showing you a little bit earlier. So it's eventually going to go there. I want you to open your sketchbook your altered book to whatever page is blank, whatever next page is blank. It should be your third page if you've been following along. I'm going to start with my lightest blue. I'm not going to take it all the way to the edge of my paper, because if I do, I might accidentally get some paint over, and it might go underneath that page, and then my pages are going to dry all together. I don't want that. So I'm going to take my lightest blue. I'm going to stay away from the edge, but I'm just going to start painting it back and forth. Now, some of your pages are really slick, so your paint's not going to stick super well, and that's fine. This is just our sketchbook, just our practice. I'm going to slowly take that color and keep taking it out. It is okay that I can still see the words through my paint. An altered book, letting the book itself show through your work is kind of the fun of altering a book. So now that I have spread that out as far as I can, notice I did not take it all the way to my edges. Now I'm not even gonna clean my brush. I'm gonna go straight into my regular blue, which does mean some of my tinted, some of my white is still in my brush. So it's going to give me another value that's not quite all the way blue. So I'm gonna keep taking it back and forth and kind of mixing them some, and get all of that off of my brush the best I can. And once again, I'm gonna go straight into my regular blue, because this time I'm not gonna have as much white in my brush. It's gonna be mostly that blue. See how it's darker already? Now, I'm also going to have my pages in this book changed color on me. So right now I'm painting on a white page, which makes my color a little more vivid and light. But now I'm headed over to this darker page. I don't know what your book is gonna be. You might have a whole bunch of colors that you're painting on top, and that is gonna affect the way your paint looks. But that is okay, because we are just practicing applying our paint and trying to go from one color to the next color evenly. So gradually getting it to start light and go through to a dark. Now I am ready to go ahead and go into my dark, which is my shade. Now I still have some of my regular blue in my brush, so it's still gonna give me a lighter dark than I actually have, and that is okay. Notice I'm spreading my paint out. And once I run out of paint, I'll go back to that dark, get some more, and keep going till I reach the end of this book. Try and go back over some of the thick areas that you might have left some paint on. And I'm gonna go into my dark one more time. Every book is a little different. Your book might be bigger or smaller than mine, so hard to say how many times you're gonna need to dip into that paint. Now I wanna gradually blend it again. So I'm going to take my paper towel. Once again, I'm gonna clean that brush off really well. Be gentle to it, but get that paint off, because I'm gonna start with that light color again. And I'm just gonna redo it one more time. This time, my words might cover up, they might not. Every book is different, and everybody applies their paint just a little differently. So I want you to go back through and repaint the whole value scale one more time. But I want you to really work when it transitions from color to color, from value to value. I want you to really go back and forth on those different values and try and get them to gradually go into your dark. When we are done, the book needs to stay open. We're gonna need to let it dry while it is open, so please do not close your book. If it closes while it is wet at all, that paint is going to mix with this paint. It's going to change what you have. Now this is just practice, so it's not a big deal. It is okay. Ooh, looks like I got some white. So that's going to affect how it changes. That's going to happen when we're practicing. It's okay. It's because I forgot to clean my brush before I started going into my darks. So now my darks are a little lighter than they were in the beginning. If you're happy with it, then you are ready to take your book to the drying area and clean out your brush. If you're not happy with it, then let's start again. Clean that brush really well and keep going until you can get it to gradually go from light to dark. And this is our monochromatic background.